This week on Arizona Illustrated, fresh food from your backyard to your neighbor's kitchen table. People seeking a second chance are in turn feeding Tucson's most needy. An 1,800-mile border-to-border story about how growing coffee is keeping families together. And Tucson's image problem from the vault. Welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. Arizona has many farmers markets. On any given day, farmers from Anthem to Ajo make available fresh seasonal produce. Now, our first story is about a market where small farmers and home gardeners sell their produce on consignment, helping connect people who grow food to those who need it.
Our day starts at about 7 o'clock in the morning. And we all arrive here at the food bank. We get the food that we have in the warehouse in crates. We load it up onto the truck, and then it's all about getting everything ready for the market to start. We were calling it a farmer's market, and people came expecting St. Philip's. They wanted something really big and really, lots and lots of vendors, and that's not really what we're here for. We're primarily here to make sure that people who live in the southern part of Tucson have access to fresh food. And we also have consigners coming, and they are bringing us food that they've grown in their gardens or farms near Tucson or in the Tucson area. So it gets to be a little bit crazy in the mornings. We've got consigners coming, we've got people waiting to buy food, we're trying to get the price tags out, but it's really a lot of fun.
We've been doing $1.25 a pound.
It's really a program for anybody who's growing food pesticide and chemical free who wants to bring in their extra, and we work with all sorts of amazing people.
Well, I came here and somebody told me about this consignment program, and I was like, wow, that's exactly what I'm looking for, because I needed a place still to put the produce, and so I ended up here, and it's been wonderful to meet other gardeners and farmers nearby.
I benefit because I am the only person who works at my farm, and I don't have enough time or sales capability to market my products at farmers markets.
It's a program for backyard gardeners and farmers who have extra produce that they want to sell, and they can bring in any amount from a really small bunch of tomatoes to, as you saw this morning, someone who brought in, probably 500 pounds of food. So it just totally depends.
So I have some eggplant, different varieties of eggplant, some green chilies, hatch green chilies. I had some cantaloupe and some watermelon. I grow some different greens still under a shade cloth, so I got Swiss chard, collard greens, kale, still going now. And summer squash, a lot of summer squash is going pretty good right now.
I like it because I support the mission of the food bank, because it allows people that normally wouldn't have access to really good food to get access to it. They accept all kinds of assistance payments, and so that allows a lot of people to have access to the food.
It's really easy just to get plugged in, and the resources for learning how to garden and how to farm is like all around you. So it's like there's no excuse if you're interested.
It's something we're able to do because we're supported by the food bank. It's tougher for the for-profit markets to get down here and actually make a profit. So that's why we're here, and we're really glad to be here. This has been a great market for us and really great for the community as well.
The Carrie Dodd Community Kitchen is a program of the Community Food Bank, which has been providing hot meals and sack lunches to low-income residents in Tucson for almost 2 decades. It also offers an opportunity for people looking for a fresh start through a unique culinary training program.
Please take notes so you can remember a lot of this stuff. I want to get it to where you're accurate. So we're going to start off with accuracy, and then we will build on speed. We'll start off a little bit slow, make sure we keep all our digits, and then we'll work up a little bit quicker and a little bit quicker and get that knife closer to our hand. Get that knife close to your hand. Honestly, it's a whole lot safer. You think, wow, getting a sharp blade next to my hand is safe? Well, the answer is yes, because you really know where it's going all the time. My name's John Wardis. I'm the executive chef of Caridad Community Kitchen. We're a program of the Food Bank of Southern Arizona. Try to get ourselves about almost 15,000 meals every month is going to go out to 9 different congregate meal sites, churches, shelters that families and adults will go to if that need a hot meal. So whether they're in need of a dinner at one of the congregate meal sites or they're going to go to one of the churches or shelters for a sack lunch, we need to be there for them. Slicing. I know, as far as I move my hand back is as wide. Along with that, we've developed a culinary training program for people that have challenges to employment. We have a 10-week program that works them all the way through knife skills, cooking skills, safety and sanitation, all the way through to the grand buffet that they have at graduation. There's prep cooks, there's line cooks, there's dishwashers, there's different levels of chefs that are in the kitchen, and they all have tasks to do. And it's the team effort, and that's what we're gonna see here. We're gonna talk about stuff that we purchase. We have 12 students from all walks of life, and they come to us with a whole different level of skill sets. Some of them have never cooked. Different age ranges, really wanting to explore the world of the culinary arts. All right, so we're gonna come in here.
Actually quite blown away to be picked. You know, I'm 58 years old, and I thought, would they take a chance on somebody who was older? And said, no, we see you as someone who's bringing experience and skills.
Again, it's a non-judgmental thing. It's just, we want to get to know you.
It's taking me back school days. You know, it's 8-hour school. I mean, trying to absorb all the verbal informations, books and all that. It's first day might be a little bit too much. We'll see how the second day goes on. This is for mixture for dry and
moisture. Correct.
The culinary training is amazing that we do, but it is nothing without the life skills and job skills that go with it. So it's really great if you know how to cook, but if you cannot hold the job, perform well, maintain a good work ethic, have a great interaction with your staff, then it's kind of a moot point.
It's where you'll get to know each other really well. Mise en place is the cornerstone of what we do in the kitchen. It means everything in its place. Meaning we need all of our food, we need all of our tools to do our job. And it also comes in the form of mental mise en place. We need to understand what it is we're doing. You gotta remember the tools are good and you gotta let them do their work. This here is our paddle. So when we're in the 40-gallon tilt skillet, you're not gonna do a whole lot of good with a little spoon. We'll do cleaning drills 3 times a day, where we stop what we're doing, sweep, empty the garbage, clean our stations, do some dishes, and then we go back at it. We set all the dance steps in motions, but you do the dancing. And again, when it works well, it is amazing. We've got a big day today, 700 meals are going out. So it's going to be busy. We've made it through a little over half of the chicken fabrication. We are very, very strict. You can't be literally a minute late. Season them, sear them. We've lost 4 out of the 13 that we started with. Get some nice color on them. There is no gray area, and we're just sticking to our word. And then we gotta build.
You're held to a high bar, but you're not expected to know it without practice. So if you get it wrong, you will be reminded how to do it right until you can do it right.
If you had pasta in there, you know how pasta has a...
My view on teaching is a no-pass policy. If it's wrong, it needs to be corrected. So I'm very vigilant as soon as a mistake is made, be it an interaction with another student or an incorrect knife cut, I act upon it in the moment. We were talking today and one of our students was going, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. It's not excuse me. It's coming through, behind, hot, something to indicate that you're there, you're present, and you need to get by. If you cannot hold your own personality and speak your truth when you need to, you're not going to make it past your first 6 months.
And Habib and myself will get chicken going. How you work here is truly how you're going to work out there when you get a job. So really, we want to give you really good work habits, really good work ethic, and develop that sense of passion for what you're doing. It's not just a job. See how easy you go through that? Okay, now do the same thing with the other one. One of the great things about Habib, he's a perfectionist. He asks a lot of questions in the kitchen, and it's just nice because he wants to get almost what it seems like he feels he's missed.
I was born and raised in California, in LA. From gangs, you know, injecting drugs, literally from being stabbed, from doing harm. Been to prison, spent 12 years, 17 years old till I was 30 years old. And I'm 38. I'm still at an age to be able to, thanks to my wife and my family, to love, you know, to be able to have my children.
Nice to meet you.
This is the baby.
The great thing for Habib is he really understands that this is a second chance. He's also left that part behind. So he's made the cut to now he's moving on. All right. What a great, great journey.
I gave up a baby when she was 3. Oh, tears. So, 13 years later, I had another one, a baby girl, and I got a second chance. And I'm telling you, I gave it 150%. And I believe I was a wonderful mum. She says I was a wonderful mum. Even the child I gave up says, Mum, you got a second chance. So I know what that feels like. So there isn't a person in this room that I don't feel a kinship with.
As I say welcome on day 1, at the end I say thank you. Showing up every day, thank you for your hard work every day. You've given us so much. We want you to build a career, a lifestyle, and we are just as strong as our alumni. You've just made that alumni team a whole lot stronger. Good job, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm very excited that you could all join us at our graduation tonight. I'd like to go ahead and bring in
Here we go.
Class 11.
So I hope they develop a sense of who they are and how food brings us all together. We all have that in common. Food is a commonality we have to have. So we all have to eat each and every day. But the more we can enjoy that and do that together, I think that's something that we learn. That, you know, it's all about being together when we do it. And I guess you can attune it to raising a child. You got to give them all the tools. They've got all those tools in the box. They got to just arrange them, put them orderly, mise en place, which is what we talk about all the time. Be organized and take it out there in the right way. And they've got to run with it.
For more on Caridad Community Kitchen and the Community Food Bank Farmers Market, visit our webpage at azpm.org. In September of 2013, Fernanda Echavarri and freelance photographer Will Seeberger traveled to the state of Chiapas on Mexico's southern border. They were looking to document how a small cooperative grows and then moves coffee 1,800 miles north to the U.S.-Mexico border, where it is roasted and then sold in southern Arizona. What they found is a far more personal story.
Mis hijos están chicos y conforme yo trabajo, ellos andan conmigo y digamos en el caso de Miguelito, él ya sabe lo que yo hago. Entonces, él ya está al pendiente de lo que voy a hacer. Él ya está conmigo. Vamos a la parcela, aunque no haya, está muy chico mi hijo, pero él ya está viendo. Y como le digo, algún día, mi hijo, aquí vas a andar en este terreno. Tú vas a ser el que vas a mandar acá, le digo, porque eres el mayor. Tú le vas a enseñar a tus dos hermanos.
For Genaro Mendez and many other families living in Mexico's southernmost state, Chiapas, coffee cultivation is more than a job. It is an anchor that helps keep families together and provides opportunity for people who may otherwise risk their lives trying to cross into the U.S. illegally.
Como mayor, pues sí, es mi responsabilidad y mis hermanos decidieron viajar para los Estados Unidos y se cumplió su deseo. Unos no le costó, al otro sí sufrió mucho porque lo detuvieron, lo regresaron, no sé si al tercer intento él se fue para Estados Unidos y ahorita ya hacen, ¿qué será? 10, 15 años aproximadamente que están allá ellos. Nunca me llamó la atención irme para Estados Unidos, a pesar que los comentarios que pasan, que hay allá el peligro en el desierto, las aduanas, todo eso, entonces yo siempre dije no, no dejo mi casa, no dejo mi pueblo.
Genaro, a divorced single father, has taken over the family's coffee fields from his aging father in Salvador Urbina, Chiapas, just 5 miles from the Mexican border with Guatemala. He works with 30 farmers in a cooperative called Café Justo, or Just Coffee. It grows organic coffee in Chiapas and sells it to U.S. customers out of a shop 2,000 miles north along Mexico's border with Arizona. Economic hardship drives many Central American countries to crime, resulting in violence. Hundreds of thousands of people from El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala are fleeing their countries and streaming across Mexico's southern border, headed for the U.S. Many of them use a smuggler or a guide to make the trek north. At the Mexico-Guatemala border, a former human trafficker who did not want to be identified recalls some of the cities where he took migrants he smuggled into the U.S.
Phoenix, Arizona, Tucson, Marrana, Casa Grande, Salomé, Yuma. Esos son pueblos que yo, o estados que yo los caminé, caminando día y noche. ¿Para qué? Para llegar a hacer un trabajo y ganarle, mandarles un dinero a nuestra familia.
He says he has smuggled people across the U.S. border in many states, and Arizona is the most dangerous. Stories from the U.S. border filter down to Mexico's border with Guatemala, and the problems are familiar even to the village elders, some of whom have never left the small town in the mountainous jungle.
Está duro porque yo lo que sé es que los matan. Les hacen cuantas cosas. Le doy gracias a Dios que no sucedió en eso con mis hijos.
Genaro's mother says dozens of families in Urbina have seen men migrate legally and illegally to the U.S., and the women left behind struggle to feed their families, especially their young children.
La ida de ellos para mí fue muy triste. Ellos pasaron, pero fue muy triste, fue muy duro. Que yo les decía pues que no se fueran, pero ellos ya viendo, ahora sí que ni para dónde, pues ahí sí lloraron ellos. Lloraron ellos y dijeron, pues sí, me acuerdo lo que mi mami dijo, no se vaya. Ellos estaban pasando por esas luchas en ese lugar, que no hallaban ni para dónde irse. Llegaron en ese lugar, ni para arriba ni para abajo.
By the time the coffee cooperative started, Lucia's sons were already gone and have not returned to Salvador Urbina to see how it has changed. While Chiapas is the poorest state in Mexico, with 75% of its people living in at least moderate poverty, its climate and geography are ideally suited for coffee cultivation. Café Justo farmers grow coffee on their own land and benefit from sharing the overall production and distribution cost of the cooperative to sell the coffee in more lucrative markets, including the U.S. That allows the members of the cooperative to not have to sell their coffee to coyotes or middlemen who buy coffee from them for as little as possible. Felix Ventura Gomez is responsible for keeping the machines running at the Café Justo facility in Chiapas. He says if he did not have that job, he might have left Mexico.
Lo pensé. Tengo amigos que están allá y, bueno, platican muchas cosas bonitas, ¿no? Pero necesitamos más que nada echarle ganas para tener dinero. No nada más de decir, voy a ir a traer dinero a Estados Unidos. Es un pensamiento muy tonto, ¿no? Porque estés donde estés, tiene uno que trabajar para tener ingresos.
He says the dangerous journey may not be worth the reward. Having just a small chance at getting by in Mexico is enough to avoid the dangers of walking for days through the Arizona desert. He acknowledges that selling coffee through this cooperative is not the only solution to poverty, but it is one of the only opportunities in the region. The coffee beans from Chiapas are shipped 1,800 miles north to Café Justo's distribution center in Agua Prieta, following the same route that millions of migrants use to travel from southern Mexico and Central America.
My name is Arthur Bassett III. I actually go by Tommy. I represent Just Coffee in sales in the United States, largely. We started Just Coffee as a response to immigration crisis, to try to address root causes of immigration as opposed to allopathic treatments of the symptoms. I kind of think immigration happens only for one reason, and that's people can't make a living.
Tommy says the cooperative has given men a reason not to leave their towns and families behind in search for better opportunities in the U.S.
Without Café Justo, there would be a lot more dismemberment of families. Not disenfranchisement, dismemberment. What could be worse than being a parent and never hearing from your child again, and always hoping?
Lucia Mendez has not seen her youngest son in more than a decade. He lives in North Carolina. She says if it were not for her oldest son, Genaro, choosing not to immigrate to the U.S., she might have sold her coffee plantations by now, and her family would be struggling to put food on the table.
Porque todavía tiene fuerzas para trabajar y él es el que está trabajando ahorita. Él es el que está trabajando porque su papá pues ya está grande. Él ya no puede trabajar, él ya no tiene resistencia, como ustedes lo ven. Y está enfermo.
¿Cómo le voy a enseñar?
Levastain Lopez is another cooperative farmer who hopes that growing coffee on the family's coffee plantation will keep his grandson, Jonathan, from risking his life crossing the Sonoran Desert.
La tierra también es una gran licenciatura, es una gran profesión, señorita. Como decía mi papá, que no te avergüence mancharte las rodillas de tierra cuando le estás sembrando la mata. Quiere esta tierra, dijo, como nos quiere Dios. Porque si trabajas la tierra, fortaleces el ecosistema, fortaleces tu economía familiar y te fortaleces espiritualmente.
Is Tucson a business-friendly city? A question very often asked today, and as it turns out, yesterday. In 1988, IBM announced it would be cutting 2,800 jobs in Tucson, prompting the mayor, city council, and community leaders to analyze Tucson's attractiveness to big business or lack thereof, as we see in this week's From the Vault.
It was a who's who of political and community leaders gathering at the Board of Supervisors meeting room today, hoping that their collective brainpower could find a way to lessen the blow from IBM's announced cutback. IBM's move, reducing 2,800 local jobs, has been akin to an economic amputation. The huge multinational was just the kind of industry this area had hoped would be here for the long haul, clean and well-paying. Many in today's meeting indicated that if Tucson is going to fill this void quickly and efficiently, it's got to change the way it does business.
But I do think we ought to be taking a position, both the city and the county, that is more accommodating to these organizations, to make it clear to people who are interested in business, whether they are here now and need a change or whether they're coming here, that we are willing to work with them rather than drive them up a tree.
The former head of the Tucson Economic Development Corporation, which works on a budget of city, county, and private money and tries to lure business to the area, says the no-growth attitude has scared off more than a few companies, including Gates, Motorola, and General Instruments.
I would now ask you to bring this community together, because the business community outside Tucson has gotten some negative vibrations.
But Mayor Tom Volge thinks it's not so much an anti-growth image that's hurting Tucson right now, as much as it is an uncoordinated effort of attracting new business.
And in the absence of that coordinated strategy, people have gone their different ways. What I hope that you're seeing today is truly a spirit of cooperation and an opportunity to develop a real umbrella for these kinds of economic development activities.
Next week, Volge, along with county and congressional representatives, plans a trip to IBM headquarters in New York to brainstorm a means of filling up the empty space at the Tucson IBM site.
Thank you for joining us here on Arizona Illustrated. Next week, a day trip to nearly every desert in the world, breathing life into Tucson one drawing at a time, understanding the importance of play, and remembering politicians working together from the vault. I'm Tom McNamara. See you next week.